So what we're going to study about is about one of the garments called the me'il, literally the coat or the long robe that the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, would wear. These secrets we're going to study comes from a very great Kabbalist, very interesting Kabbalist. His name was Rabbi Shimshon of Ostropole. He lived in the 1600s, had, as they say, a Magid, an angel who would come and would teach him. And the story goes that 3 years before, I believe 1648, the angel comes and tells him that great judgment and great negativity, Chas v'Shalom, is going to come down to this world and to his village. And so he tries to push the people around him and the people of that city, of that village, to change. But then he's told that it wasn't enough. The story goes that on the third day of Av, in the year it's called Tach, 1648, there was a Cossack rebellion that came, and they were going to kill. Everybody knew that they were going to kill everybody in that village that Shimshon was the leader of. So he tells all the people of that village to dress in their there's what's called the special clothing that a person is dressed in after his soul leaves his body. They call it tachichim. So he told everybody, there were about 300 people in that community, to all dress in their basically death garments, to put on the tefillin and the talit, and to gather in the Bet HaKnesset, in the synagogue. And they all do, and they're praying, and then on that day there was a massacre. They came into that synagogue and they killed everybody, including Rabbi Shimshon of Ostropole. And I always find that when you study secrets from a soul that left the world in such a, although the Kabbalists, they tell the story that on that day, Rabbi Shimshon himself felt no pain. He was so elevated and separated from his body that even as they killed him, dressed in his talit and his tefillin, and saying the Shema Yisrael, he felt no pain. But when somebody goes through that type of pain, their wisdom, their secrets, their teachings are even more elevated. And therefore, and it's not coincidental that the secret we're going to learn is how to fight against the forces of negativity. So that's the second reason why I'm very excited about this teaching. So the teaching is concerning, as we said, the me'il, this robe that the priest, the Kohen Gadol, would wear. It says in this week's portion, "V'asita et me'il ha'efod klil techelet." The coat should be made of this, all of it should be of this color, which is called techelet, which is probably some sort of light blue. It says, "V'haya pirosho betocho." Now again, it's interesting, the Torah gives you very specific details of how to make this coat, this robe. The top where the head goes through the material should be folded over inside. Safa yeh lepiv saviv, and you should make a border around where the opening on top where the head goes in. Maaseh oreg kefi tachara yeh lo, and it should be woven in a special way on the top where the head goes in. Lo yikareah, and it should never be ripped. So again, you read this sentence, it's really, why do we have to be reading, all these thousands of years later about how the details of the making of the me'il, of the coat? The Khatam Sofer, a great Kabbalist, quotes a teaching from Rabbi Shimshon of Ostropole. He says, Al pi hayadua, we know, Rabbi Shimshon says, that the negative forces in this world, hayetzer hara, the negative forces in this world are controlled by two ministering, you can call them angels of negativity. Who Samech Mem, one of them which is called Samech Mem Aleph Lamed, and Ari says these names are so negative you don't even want to mention them. But the male leader of the forces of negativity in this world, again it means, but every negativity, every darkness that is ever felt by anybody in this world comes from these two forces. Samech Mem Aleph Lamed, which represents the male aspect, in everything in this world, both good and not good, there has to be male and female. You can't draw or manifest without the two. So the male controller, conduit of this negative force that is, again, both all negativity that exists in this world is Samech Mem Aleph Lamed. Ubat Zugo, and his female counterpart, he Lamed Yud Taf. We don't, in English it's spelled Lith, and in Hebrew it's spelled Lamed Yud Taf. Again, we don't see these names, as Larry tells us, because if you say them, then you actually draw them to you. And of course, we have enough negativity around us, we don't have to do anything else to draw some more. So how do these two forces, how do they actually affect destruction? It's important to understand, because when you realize that the purpose of our lives is to push away, what is the battle of Purim? What is the battle of Amalek? To receive renewed strength to fight this battle. Our battle, humanity's battle, against these two forces, Samech Mem and Lamed Yud. How do they cause destruction? What is the mechanism by which they are able to bring darkness into an individual's life and into this world? רק כאשר מתחברים שני כוחות טומאה הללו, הם מביאים נזק גדול בעולם רחמנא ליצלן. When they have to unite. Samech Mem by himself, the male aspect, and Lamed Yud by herself, cannot bring great destruction. There has to be a union between the two of them. They have to be unified in order to awaken great destruction. And Rabbi Shimshon explains that there's one holy name, it's a name that I think most of us haven't heard of before, that has the power to separate these two forces. He says Yeshem Kadosh, and the holy name is the name that has three letters, Kaf-Pei-Iud. Kaf-Pei-Iud. It can be read as Kapi, which means my hand. It could be read as Kapi, my mouth. It can be read as in this verse, Kefi, Tachara, which means in a certain way of weaving. But anyway, Rabbi Shimshon reveals that the most powerful name to separate the two forces of negativity, Samech Mem and Lamed Yud, is the name Kaf-Pei-Iud. That by meditating on that name, you are able to separate the male and female forces of negativity, and through that meditation and through that separation, they cannot bring great destruction. V'zeu remez hakatuv. Rabbi Shimshon teaches the words Lepiv, Saviv, Maaseh Oreg, which translated on the opening or the mouth of the robe, around it should be a special weaving. Rashei Tevot Samech Mem Aleph Lamed. The first four letters of those four words spell out the negative angel Samech Mem Aleph Lamed. Tachara Yelo Lo Yikarea. The next, not the next four words, but the later four words, which again speak about the weaving of the head portion of this robe. The first four letters, Tachara Yelo Lo Yikarea, spell out the name Lamed Yud Kaf, which again is the female force of destruction. Omnam benehem, but in the verse between the four words whose first letters spell out the name Samech Mem, which is the male force of negativity, and between the letters that spell out Lamed Yud Taf, which is the female aspect of negativity, there is one word, and that word is Kefi, Kaf-Pei-Iud. And from here, Rabbi Shimshon teaches us that is that name, Kefi, that separates male and female forces of negativity and does not allow them to cause destruction. So now you understand, Shu Shem Kadosh HaMafrid Benehem Shelo Yitchabru Yachad. That name, Kaf-Pei-Iud, has the power to separate the male force and the female force of negativity so that they cannot create destruction. Lefiv Saviv Maaseh Oreg is the first four letters of Samech Mem Aleph Lamed. The next word, which is Kefi, is actually the name which the Creator is giving to us on this Shabbat, this force, this gift, this secret, how to separate Samech Mem from the next Tachara Yelo Lo Yikarea, which again is the first four letters of Lamed Yud Taf. It's so beautiful and powerful. It's no longer a verse giving you tailoring details of a robe for the high priest thousands of years ago, but rather what it's giving to us is the power, because it's not just about knowing. I mean, Rabbi Shimshon teaches us that the Kaf-Pei-Iud has the power to separate those two forces so that destruction can occur. But it's not just learning that. It said on this Shabbat we receive the power, the ability to do it. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing secret revelation, and teaches us that this verse is the one that's giving us the power to stop destruction, to stop negativity from manifesting, to give us the power to separate the female and male aspects of negativity. What's beautiful about this is that once you understand this, you start seeing how this holy name, Kaf-Pei-Iud, appears throughout the entire Torah as a force that stops negativity. Nachmanides, the Ramban, says that there's a way to read the entire Torah where everything is the name of God. At the time of Mashiach, the time when pain, suffering, and death will be removed from our world, it will be revealed to all of us how every single word is the name of God. And this is part of that process. Now we know that when it says in this week's portion, Kefi Tachara, when it says Kefi, it's actually not just saying like, but rather it's referring to this holy name, Kaf-Pei-Iud, which has the power and the force to separate the male and female aspect of negativity so that destruction cannot come, so that negativity cannot manifest. When the Creator reveals His light to Moses, Moses asked the Creator to reveal the totality of the Creator's light to him. It says, "V'sakoti kapi alecha adovri." Literally, it says, "I will put maybe my hand on you, Moses, until I pass." And then "V'hasiroti kapi," and then the Creator says, "After I leave, after the light of the Creator is removed, I will remove what's called my hand, kapi." And Rashi, the great Kabbalist and commentator, says when it says, "I will remove kapi," I will remove what is my hand, it means mikan shenitan reshut mechablim lechabel. That when that occurs, when that, now we can understand as the hand of God, but when Kapi means hand, when that light, the Kaf-Pei-Iud, of that name that has the power to stop negativity, when that is removed, then that's when negativity can manifest. Which means, what Moses asked for and received, and what we want to ask for on the Shabbat, is to be given the gift of this name, Kaf-Pei-Iud. On one level, which we were learning now, which is when it was revealed to Moses, it was revealed as the word my hand. Which means, again, we understand, of course, the Creator doesn't have a hand, but a hand like a father, let's say, is protecting his son, he puts his hand on the son. The word the name Kaf-Pei-Iud is that same type of protection that we draw upon ourselves from the Creator. The Creator puts his hand, or more importantly, the light of the name Kaf-Pei-Iud, and that's what brings us protection. It says in the Gemara, in the Talmud in Brachot, Kol ha'osek b'Torah, whoever deals and studies and does the spiritual work and uses the spiritual tools, Yisurin bedelin himenu, all kinds of pain and suffering are removed from him or her. The person is truly dedicated to the spiritual work, Yisurin bedelin himenu. He or she receives the power that pain and suffering are removed from him. Shneimar ubnei reshef yagbihu uf. There's a verse in Iyov and Job, it says that these children of what's called Reshef, and we'll see what that means, but they will fly away from him. These forces of negativity, these forces of suffering, these forces of pain will be removed from him. Ve'ein of el Torah. And the Gemara says, when it says that the force that will remove, that will really force these forces of negativity to be removed, will be the light of the Torah, the light of the spiritual work. Ve'ein reshef ele yisurim, and the word reshef represents the force that brings all kinds of pain and suffering. So from here we learn that if a person is truly dedicated to both the study and the spiritual work, yisurim bedelin himem, the forces that cause pain, the forces that cause suffering will be removed from him. The word, name, which we are given on the Shabbat, Kaf-Pei-Iud, has that power. Why? The Bnei Yissaschar, the great Kabbalist, says, Reshef, which is the word used in the verse, representing the force of negativity and pain, Gematria Samech Mem, Lamed Yud Lamed Yud Taf. The word Reshef has the same numerical value as Samech Mem, which is the first two letters of the male angel of negativity, and Lamed Yud Lamed Yud Taf, which is the female angel of negativity. Samech Mem without the last two letters, which is Aleph Lamed. Because when we talk about separating Samech Mem Aleph Lamed, which is the male aspect, force of pain, suffering, death, from the female aspect, Lamed Yud Lamed Yud Taf, the way to do it, the Kabbalists teach, is to take out the name Aleph Lamed, which is the name of God, from the Samech Mem. Take away that power. Through the name Kapi, through the Kaf-Pei-Iud, we have the power, the ability to take away the Aleph Lamed from the Samech Mem, to take away the light force from that force of negativity, and then they separate Samech Mem and Lamed Yud Lamed Yud Taf. And that's why in the verse that teaches us that a person, through his dedication to the study and the spiritual work, has the power of Yisurim bedelin himeno, that he can remove the force of pain and suffering from him. The word that represents the pain and suffering, Reshef, is the numerical value of Samech Mem and Lamed Yud Taf, which again, as we said, are the two forces, if they come together, of pain and suffering. But when you use the Kaf-Pei-Iud to separate them through your spiritual work, and through the meditation on this name, and through the study, then you make it so that the internal life force of that male negative angel leaves, which is the Aleph Lamed of that name, and then the male and female aspect of negativity are separated. And that's what the power we're given on the Shabbat. Pain, suffering is removed, as we said, both through the dedication to the spiritual work and the study, and with the gift of this name, Kaf-Pei-Iud. We spoke last week, and I think it's not coincidental that the power of tefillin has been coming up in last week's study and this week's study. And tefillin is also the numerical value, Samech Mem and Lamed Yud Taf. Samech Mem without the Aleph Lamed, which again tells us that if you want to know what's maybe the most powerful tool, that's where it says in the Gemara that the tefillin is comparable, its light is comparable to everything else that we do, because it has the power to take out the Aleph Lamed from the Samech Mem and the Lamed Yud Taf, and do that same action of separating male and female force and negativity. And when they're separated, they can't manifest negativity. And we say this every morning concerning the tefillin. It says, "Leman tiyeh Torat Hashem b'fich," so that the words or the light of the words of the Torah should be in your mouth. Beficha has the name again, Pei Yud Chaf, or as we said, Kaf-Pei-Iud. This word, whenever there is a separation that is occurring in the forces of negativity, it always appears, because it is the light and the force that gives us the ability to do that. Not coincidental, it's a Shabbat before Purim, the Shabbat of Zachor. We are given the power to separate the male and female aspect of negativity. How do you do it? First of all, it says in the Talmud that we quoted, through the study, which means that when we, for instance, read from the Zohar, our meditation should be, I am drawing, you can call it the hand of God, or the Kaf-Pei-Iud, the Kapi, and we are drawing that name of Kaf-Pei-Iud in order to separate force of male and female aspect of negativity, Samech Mem and Lamed Yud, and by doing that, Yisurim Bedelin Himeno. We force, we do not allow or enable negativity, pain, and suffering to manifest, not in our lives and not in the lives of others. And that has to be our meditation, through study, through reading of the Zohar, those of us who put on tefillin, as well in the tefillin. But this has to be our meditation. We are drawing call it the hand of God, or that name, Kaf-Pei-Iud, to manifest through our study, through the reading of the Zohar, through our connection. And we have to know, again, the deeper our knowledge, our understanding of this is, the more powerful it will be. And through that name, we separate, as in the verse, the Samech Mem from the Lamed Yud, and then no negativity can manifest. We force negativity from coming away from ever coming and manifesting in our lives. I want to deepen our understanding. Again, we've been speaking now about the male and female aspect of negativity. How do they work? The Ari, in Torah, on Psalms and Tehillim, has a beautiful explanation. Relatively simple, straightforward, but one that, as we learn it, will give us the strength to be able to really do this battle. No, this is what happens every day. Whenever we are awakened, a desire is awakened to do something negative, that's not out of nowhere. That's these two forces, and specifically one of them. The Ari says you should know. Ki hascharim im ba'alei cherev v'hariga. In general, it is the male forces of negativity that are those who have the sword, those who cause death. Ki chen hu teva ba'olam, and that's the nature of the world. Usually it is the men who do battle. Shescharim im ba'alei milchama, that the males are the ones who do battle. Ach hanekevot hem mefatim ha'adam lachto. It is the female force that entice an individual to fall, to act negatively, to act in the way of desire to receive for the self alone. First, and this is how it operates, the forces that come down are coming from Lamed Yud, Lamed Yud Taf. And that's the force that awakens a desire to act selfishly, a desire to act with a desire to receive for the self alone, a desire to act with anger. Where does that come from? You have to know it. There are these mazikim, these negative forces coming specifically from her, Lamed Yud Taf, and they are the ones that are what's called the mefatah. They are the ones that are awakening the desire. Think about it for a second. You suddenly feel a desire to do something negative. You suddenly feel the desire to act in a way of desire to receive for the self alone. Why is that happening? It's very simple. There are these, you are now being surrounded by 5, by 10, the Arizal doesn't say specifically how many. These forces of negativity that are surrounding you, and you have a choice. Are you going to bring them into yourself, into your body, into your soul, or are you not? And when you begin to understand what choice you're making when you acquiesce to acting in a way of desire to receive for the self alone, you agree. These aren't your own internal desires. These aren't your own internal thoughts. These are, as the Ari calls them, kochot hanimshachim min hanukva shehi lamed yud taf. These are forces of negativity coming from this female aspect of the negativity. And by choosing to fall to it, you are welcoming chas v'shalom into your home, into your body, into your soul. These forces of lamed yud taf. Think about that. And again, you have to think about it. Next time, and hopefully every time, that desire is awakened to act in a selfish way, to act in a way of desire to receive the self alone, stop for 1 second and say 1 second. Maybe even read the section in the Ari. What's happening here? Think. There are these forces surrounding me now. Sent by who? Sent by Lamed Yud Taf, the female force of negativity. And I have a choice to make. Not my own choice, meaning I'm not going to either fall or not fall to my own desires, but do I want to pair myself, open myself up for these forces to enter? If you fall to desire to receive for the self alone, you're falling not to your own desires, to your own selfishness. You're falling into the forces, as the Ari calls them, you're pairing up, you're joining forces, you're welcoming into your house, into yourself, into your body, into your soul, these forces of negativity. And they begin the process of awakening these desires within the person. And the force that's coming is this female force of negativity. Because the force, again, of awakening these desires and making a person fall is coming from the female aspect of negativity. And after they see that the individual has welcomed them in, has paired with them, has brought them into his home and into his body and into his soul, then they call. This is when they get together. They call the Samech Mem Aleph Lamed. Send some of your energy into here, because he's already opened the door by allowing the female aspect. Now let's bring in the male aspect. V'nimsar bi'adam u'memitin oto. Then the individual is given over to the male forces of negativity, chas v'shalom, pain, suffering, and eventually death occurs. Because the awakening of desire, of selfishness, of desire to receive for the self alone comes from the Lamed Yud Taf, from the female aspect. And then the male aspects come and join forces. When the female aspects of negativity, because as we said earlier, the Samech Mem and the Lamed Yud Taf cannot manifest negativity by themselves. They need to join. So first the female aspect comes in. There's an awakening of desire, not our own anymore, we understand, but rather we fall to the desire awakened by these forces sent by Lamed Yud Taf. And when enough of that desire is awakened, the male forces come, join that desire, and then eventually take over. And they are the male aspects are the ones that manifest the pain, that manifest the suffering, and chas v'shalom manifest the death. And then when they can already control the individual to cause him pain, chas v'shalom, or to kill him, that is the job that's done by the male aspect of negativity. And there, in that time, it is the male aspects of negativity that take control, and the female aspects become secondary to them. How will we become stronger in our fight against these forces of negativity? The more we know about them. Desire to receive for the self alone, selfishness, all those actions that we can think of, they are not awakened by us. Next time, that thought, that desire to act in a selfish way, to act in a way, desire to receive for the self alone, know clearly what that already says. Right now, being sent to you, maybe 3 mazikim, as they call, 3 forces of negativity from Lamed Yud Taf. She sent them down to see that they can take control of you. You let them in, chas v'shalom, to your body, into your soul, into your home. Then they call the male aspects. The Samech Mem sends some of his mazikim, some of his mechablim, some of his negative forces. Chas v'shalom, they are the ones that manifest yisurin, chas v'shalom, pain and suffering and eventually death. You want, once you understand it, to really be allowing these forces into your life, allowing them into your body, into your soul, into your house? Of course not. But this is the battle, right? This is the battle with Amalek, this is the battle of Purim. What we want to ask for on this Shabbat, that name Kaf-Pei-Iud, which by the way is a name to use when you feel these forces coming to you, but also to know. But the force of Amalek is to make that knowledge disappear. What we want to ask for on this Shabbat is not just the power of the Kaf-Pei-Iud, what we call the hand of God, that name of protection that separates the male and female force of negativity so that they cannot manifest negativity, but more importantly, to give us the strength of knowledge, to be able to remind ourselves every single time we're about to fall. This isn't my own desires being awakened that I might or might not fall to them. There's this whole system happening here. Sent again, as we said, and then repeated by Lamed Yud, and then sent by Samech Mem. Lamed Yud is the one that awakens the desires, and then the Samech Mem comes in and finishes off the job with the pain and suffering and chas v'shalom death. To beg on this Shabbat, which is the Shabbat of Zachor, the Shabbat before Purim, give us the strength to maintain the clarity of this knowledge all the time. This is the battle. And what's interesting, the great Kabbalist, Rabbi Chaim ben Attar, doesn't often do this. In the portion of Vayechi, shares with us this personal story. Al derech she'amru b'Zohar, it says in the Zohar, he says, ki besitra achra, on the negative side, hanekeva hi yoter chazaka me'azachar, that the female force of negativity, known as Lamed Yud Taf, is more powerful than the male force of negativity. Uchadavar hazeh u'bichizayon hazeh hir'uni b'chalom. This is an amazing thing. In a dream, I was shown this teaching. וכדבר הזה ובחיזיון הזה הראוני בחלום שהאבקתי במלחמה עם הזכר. In this dream he's fighting the Samech Mem, he's fighting this force of the male force of negativity. ויהי נקל בעיניי להכניעו. And it was easy for me in my dream to beat the male aspect. V'ipalti oto bekochi, and I was able to make him fall with my own strength. V'lanekeva nit'amatzti bekol kochi kama pa'amim, but with the female aspect, I tried, I failed, I tried, and I failed. Ve'achar kama tirchot yacholti lashlicha kama ma'alot lemata la'aretz. And after many, many battles, he says in his dream, I was able to push her all the way down, the lamed yud taf. But he says, ach lo keba'ala zachar. But I was not able to overcome her and to push her down as much as I was able to completely destroy the male aspect. Why? Because this is what we're talking about. That the female aspect is the most powerful one when it comes to leading a person to fall. And therefore in his dream, Rabbi Chaim ben Attar saw that it was easier for him to push aside the male aspect, more difficult for him. After many, many struggles, he was able to push her down, but not completely. This is our battle. This is our battle. This is, again, the gift given to us on this Shabbat is this knowledge. To beg for it, we have to desire to see it more clearly and more clearly and more clearly. Because, as we said, if you're able to understand this, and what does understanding mean? If you're able to see this completely without doubt, then you're able to win the battle. If you're not, then you fall, you come back up, you fall and you come back up. But the power of this Shabbat is to finally separate these two forces, Samech Mem from Lamed Yud Taf, so that no pain, no suffering, no death can come. To do that, as we said, with the understanding of what Kaf-Pei-Iud, what's called the hand of God, can do. Meditate on it, to ask for it. Secondly, to know that, as the Ari teaches us, what happens as you're falling, as you may be thinking of falling. Think about it again and again and again and again, as Rabbi Chaim ben Attar had it in his dream. And then this knowledge can become really a part of who you are. And it becomes really a part of who you are, and you really know it with certainty. Then you can defeat the force of negativity, call them Amalek, call them Lamed Yud Taf, and Samech Mem. But this is the gift that's given to us on the Shabbat. It's an amazing, amazing revelation on many levels. But most importantly, of course, is living this, not knowing this. It says that, as we taught, Kapi, the word letters Kaf-Pei-Iud represent the hand of God, which brings protection. But it also represents the word kefi, like the mouth of God, which means that to the degree that we are able to know this and live this and fight this battle, our mouth becomes like the mouth of God, meaning our mouth becomes powerful so that, as we've spoken about a few times, that through our mouths we will be able to decree. We will be able to decree either judgment to be removed or blessing to be manifest, and then it will be manifest. And that's the ultimate gift of this name. So it begins with Kapi, which draws protection and separation of the Samech Mem from Lamed Yud, and eventually the greatest gift of this name is that our mouth becomes Kefi, like the mouth of the Creator, that we decree and it will be so.